Shabbat Shalom, family. Our scripture reading for today is Psalms chapter 145.
God's been good to me.
Oh, all of my life.
Oh yeah,
God's been good to me.
Oh,
all of my life.
Well,
God's been good to me. He's been good.
He's been good. He's been good. He's been good to me.
Down through the years, God's been good to me.
Oh, down through the years,
You know that
God's been good to me. Down through the years,
God's been
good to me. He's been good.
He's been good.
He's been good. He's been good.
Through sickness and pain, God's been good to me.
Oh, through sickness and pain,
You know that
God's been good to me.
Oh,
Through sickness and pain,
oh yeah,
God's been good to me. He's been good.
He's been good. He's been good. He's been good to me.
Well, all on my job, God's been good to me.
Oh, all of my job,
And God's been
good to me. All of my job,
oh yeah,
God's been good to me. He's been good.
He's been good.
He's been good. He's been good.
All of my life, God's been good to me.
Oh, all of my life,
Don't you know that
God's been good to me.
Oh,
All of my life,
oh yeah,
God's been good to me. He's been good.
He's been good. He's been good. He's been good to me.
All in my home, God's been good to me.
Oh, all in my home,
You better know that
God's been good to me. All in my home, God's been good to me. He's been good.
He's been good.
He's been good.
He's been good.
All of your life, God's been good to you.
All of your life,
Don't you know that
God's been good to you.
Oh,
All of your life,
oh yeah,
God's been good to you. He's been good.
He's been good. He's been good. He's been good to you.
All of my life, God's been good to me.
Oh, all of my life,
Well,
God's been good to me.
been good. He's been good to me.
All right. The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you're sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as their children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes Chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you up on earth, therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Praise Yahweh indeed for that wonderful selection this morning. He truly has been good. He has been so good that sometimes you don't know how good he's been. He has been so good, in fact, that you don't even know all the things that he has been good to you about. Some of those things you missed, but you didn't even know to count them as his goodness, because he never let it even come your way. Now, y'all might see me get a little misty today. Today is the anniversary of when I went into the hospital. It was 1 year ago today. I think it's like it was in the wee hours of the morning or what have you. But, you know, around this time I was gasping for air. And my family was my natural and spiritual family was gathering together praying for my recovery. So I truly feel this morning's song, he has been good. He has really been good. All right. Now we oftentimes speak about the omnipotent power of Yahweh. We also speak as to how we are his servants, his son even being our master. We must then be able to change direction when he leads us to. This change in perspective is oftentimes extremely difficult because we are creatures of habit. It is easy to read about how disobedient Israel was coming out of Egypt. But how many people have ever walked away from everything they had ever known? And keep in mind, there is a limited amount of things that you can take on the journey. Have we considered all the things we have accomplished in this country that we will have to walk away and leave behind? We won't be able to bring our houses, cars, 401ks, any of those things will not be able to come with us. We must let it all go and have faith that Yahweh will replenish us again. Let's begin today's sermon in Genesis chapter 12. Genesis chapter 12, and we're going to begin that at verse 1. You know, there's sometimes you can look and you can see changes from generation to generation. You have to pay attention that this particular generation that we are living in, we have seen changes that normally only happen in a period of several generations. They're all happening right now. If you haven't noticed that something is different about this particular time that we're living in, there are a lot of changes. We can't get over one pandemic for another one. One of them hadn't been done before something else. You look at other generations, if they had a pandemic, they had one. They didn't have one that started right on the end of another one, and then 4 or 5 countries talking about sending a nuclear weapon to another one. And please don't let it get past you that all of these threats are being made toward America. Do understand that America is the only country who has used a nuclear weapon. Do understand that this is just not some talk. These people have been we are the only peoples that are strange enough to believe, you should just let your past go. None of those other people have let their past go. They remember all of the deformed children, all of the people who were born with all of these issues because of those weapons that were dropped in those other countries. They remember that. They will never forget it. So please don't let it get past you that all of these threats are being made to the same country. It's being made for a reason. Those people know of how much harm it caused all of those people living and the ones who were to be born, all of the problems that they were having because of those nuclear weapons. So don't let this talk, that you hear, it gets so common after a while that, that's just news talk. Putin just talking, China just talking, North Korea just talking. No, these people have had a problem and they've been carrying this problem for a while. I'm talking generations. This ain't just talk, okay? They're talking to the only country who has ever used it. No other country has used a weapon like that, ever. So pay attention. There are some things happening right before us, but we keep going on like business as usual. These are not empty threats. What they're saying is, before you had the capability by yourself, we want to let you know that we got it. And step the wrong way, and we're going to show you we got it. Genesis chapter 12, and let's start that at verse 1.
Now Yahweh had said unto Abram, Get you out of your country, and from your kindred, and from your father's house, unto a land that I shall show you.
That, not even a place, when we leave, we got the GPS already ready. We know exactly how long it's going to take to get there. Matter of fact, if we stop for snacks, it readjusts your count. Okay, well, you're not going to get there at 5:30 no more. It's going to be 6:15. So we get to adjust in our minds. All right, well, we still going to get to the destination. We're going to get there a little later because, we had to get those goobers at the Quick Trip. He says, where I shall show you. I ain't even told you exactly what this place is. Leave everything that you've gotten accustomed to. See, we talk about that we are a part of this. But what are you going to do when it's your chance to walk away from everything that you've gotten accustomed to? Man, we have a problem if we get accustomed to cable and it ain't on. We start calling the neighbors. Is your cable messed up? Man, is that all it takes to shake and rattle you? Is the cable off? Go ahead.
And I'll make of you a great nation, and I'll bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing.
Understand, when Yahweh says this is at the ending of the promise. You still got to make it through the promise. And a lot of times when we hear that, we think, well, you know, if he said he's going to do that, then that means it's going to be smooth sailing. He said it, right? He gonna do what he said. Yeah, but you still got to make it through. See, that's the ending of what he said. I will make you. You're going to have to persevere till the time come that he makes you, whatever that is. Go ahead.
And I'll bless them that bless you, and curse him that curse you. And in you all families of the earth shall be blessed. So Abram departed, as Yahweh spoken unto him. And Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran.
Now, you have to consider now, a lot of people are not dealing with this situation. I will bless them that bless you, and I will curse him that curse you. A lot of people have heaped up curses unto themselves, not understanding what they have done to the true children of Abraham. See, those things fall from lineage to lineage. See, this is how Yahweh judged the hearts of men. They don't really know who they were really cursing. They didn't really know who they was doing some of the evil that they were doing to. So they have rightfully so gathered curses to themselves. Go ahead.
And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that he had gathered, and the souls that he had gotten in Haran. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Sychem, unto the plain of Moriah. And the Canaanite was then in the land. And Yahweh appeared unto Abram, and said, unto your seed will I give the land. And there built he an altar unto Yahweh, who appeared unto him. And he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and Hai on the east. And there he built an altar unto Yahweh, and called upon the name of Yahweh. And Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. And it came to pass, when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarai his wife, behold now, I know that you are a fair woman to look upon. Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see you, that they shall say, this is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save you alive.
Right. So then, now, Yahweh has given him this promise, but he is now in a land where he is afraid to even allow his wife to be known as his wife. This is the kind of place where he is. But Yahweh says, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this. You still got to make it through it. You're not just going to skate to the ending. Go ahead.
Say, I pray you, you're my sister, that it may be well with me for your sake, and my soul shall live because of you.
Now, what if she said no?
I don't see that written nowhere. Well, I gotta listen to you. You want me to do what? That's dishonest. I'm not doing that.
See, sometimes you got to look at the levels of things. He ain't asked her to go lie to no priest and say one thing or not. Look, just tell these people you my sister, cause these folk may kill me trying to get you. See, sometimes you have to look at not only the thing, but the purpose of the thing. He ain't lying trying to get out of no land deal. He ain't lying trying to get no money. Look, these folk will kill me to get you. Go ahead.
In this day and age, you would have got, what, are you ashamed of me? You afraid to tell somebody I'm your wife?
Hey.
So I'm not gonna get no public displays of affection.
And ultimately, eventually, this is what get them all caught. Go ahead.
And it came to pass that when Abram was coming to Egypt, the Egyptians beheld a woman that she was very fair. The princes also of Pharaoh saw her and commended her before Pharaoh. And the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. And he entreated Abram well for her sake. And he had sheep and oxen and he asses and men servants and maid servants and she asses and camels. And Yahweh plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife.
So, you know, there's a covering that is on him that even when things go wrong, it still don't go as wrong as it's supposed to go for him. Go ahead.
And Pharaoh called Abram and said, "What is this that you have done unto me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why said you, she's my sister? So I might have taken her to me to wife. Now therefore behold your wife, take her, and go your way." And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away and his wife and all that he had.
Now, you have to look at just the obedience that is, you know, there with the wife that he has. Yahweh says, "Go to a place which I shall tell you of." Now we know in most places that's a fight right there. As soon as you said, "Baby, we moving," where we going? I'm gonna let you know when we get there. Do understand that that's fight number one. Then you get somewhere. Look, I mean, we done got here. These people, they're looking at me funny. Tell them that you my sister, and they might ask you to go in their house. Just go in their house and stay with them. Oh, most definitely that's fight number two. You can go ahead and schedule that. Matter of fact, I think that buffer dude gonna show up. Let's get ready to rumble. In this corner you got Keisha. You know, it's about to go down. You understand? It is about to go down, clown. You have to look at the level of faith that's happening here. We like to claim to be in the lineage of these individuals, but please don't think your plight and the things that we've gone through even amounts to anything like this. You ain't went through nothing like this. Let's go to chapter 26. When we go on a journey, we can go on Google and look at the picture of the place before we even get there. They give you the address, Google it. You say, "Oh, okay, that's the blue building." So by the time you pull up, you feel like, "Oh, I've been here before. I've been here on Google." You didn't have that opportunity. Genesis 26, and let's start at verse 1.
And there was a famine in the land, beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham.
Now, you notice Yahweh uses these famines to move his people and create situations. Part of the promises that Yahweh gives us is that I will sustain you with this, this, and this, if you do the things that you're supposed to do. When a famine comes, you don't have anything to do but move. Because you can't eat there. If you can't eat, you can't live. Go ahead.
And Esaac went on to Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And Yahweh appeared unto him and said, "Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell you of."
So you keep hearing this, the land which I shall tell you of. All right. But then his father went into Egypt. So Yahweh said, no, don't go into Egypt though. I know that's going to be where y'all know it's stuff at. Don't go there. I'm gonna tell you about somewhere else to go. Don't go there. Go ahead.
Sojourn in this land, and I'll be with you, and will bless you. For unto you and unto your seed I'll give all these countries, and I'll perform the oath which I swore unto Abraham your father.
So I will give you all these countries. So there's a purpose in even the things that he's encountering that he doesn't fully is not aware of just yet. See, sometimes you'll find that your blessings will end up being in the very things that you toiled in. But what we do is when we get to the point of toiling and turmoil, we then say, oh no, I don't want nothing to do with this. That's where your blessing gonna come at. So but you running before the blessing come though. Go ahead.
You know, brother, even in our upcoming journey, there's a wilderness journey that we don't know about.
Exactly.
We know where the land of Israel is. We know where we're going to end up, but along the way, it's still that.
And you got Jake that's saying, I already GPS Holy Land. I looked it up on Google. I put in holy and land, and I looked at the picture. So I'm just going to go there, and I'm going to wait right outside the gate. But see, this book says, Moab, let my outcast dwell with you. My teacher taught us that Moab and Ammon is the people who call themselves the Palestinians. Let me tell you something. They would be very happy to get somebody to help them because they're getting beat and pummeled by Israel. And all of these people who think that they going, I've been learning Hebrew, I'm going to go right to Israel. Let me tell you something. Israel has a policy that if their population anybody gets over 30% of the population, then Israel to them loses its identity. They says I'm trying to think of the word that they use. It's something like imposter. It's something else. This word that they use for anybody who's not white Jew.
Goyim, I think.
Nope, it's something else. Infiltrators.
Oh.
They have a term. This is their political term. Infiltrators. Anybody who comes there and is not white Jew is infiltrators. So they are sending the people who've been over there 50, 60 years, they starting to deport them, the so-called black Hebrews. The Africans, they throwing them straight in concentration camps. They got the biggest concentration camp anywhere ever built. But every year they want to have us feel sorry for them, talking about they was in a concentration camp. Yet they done built the biggest one. And you got people talking about we gonna go to the Holy Land. You gonna find out how unholy it is when you get there. Make the wrong left turn. You better stay on the tourist route. Ain't that what they tell you when you go to the island? Don't go down that mountain. No, that was not on the brochure. Stay on the beaten path. Make that left turn you want to. You gonna see some gangsters like you ain't never seen before. I'm talking about a gangster with no shoes on. He got money, he just don't want no shoes on. Go ahead, bro.
Genesis chapter 26 and verse 4. And I'll make your seed to multiply as the stars of heaven. And I'll give unto your seed all these countries. And in your seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. And Esaac dwelt in Gerar. And the men of the place asked him of his wife. And he said, she's my sister.
And this is something that we don't even consider. That you go somewhere and all of a sudden you are in danger because of your wife. Because they say, you know what, I think I want her. But what does the law say? A woman is bound to her husband as long as he lives. They say, all right, well, let's kill him. Then she's free to be with me. See, they got twisted things going on in these other places. That's why as they go to these other places, they have a little bit of concern. And you have to be, there has to be concern whenever you are traveling abroad. We get this thought process that we have rights anywhere we go. And people are starting to realize This is a different life that's happening here in other places, and the climate is changing. Every trip you take, you got to be prepared for it to be your last one, because you might not be able to come back home. Or you might have to wait until after Yahshua gets ready to do his thing, then you come home after that. It is a different world that's happening right in front of us. But we keep acting like everything is just the same as it always was. Go ahead, bro.
For he feared to say, she's my wife. Least he said, the men of the place should kill me for Rebekah, because she was fair to look upon. And it came to pass, when he had been there a long time.
You know what? Kind of makes sense to some of these places that they passing through is some of these, now Muslim places, and they got veils all over their wives. You see that? You see that? They like, oh no, they kill you for your wife. So the way they got it now,
You will only see her eyes. You will only see. He will not kill me. He will not see her.
what the hell?
Because they keep saying she's fair to look upon.
Yeah. So look at this here. So you got some of them you can't even see their eyes. I was trying to figure out how you even know where you going. I mean, she covered everywhere. I'm like, is Darth Vader in there? What? How you getting around? But you start to understand that as they're going through some of these places, you can see the result of that culture right now. These women had their face covered. Why? Because of other men and what they gonna do. This don't have anything to do with righteousness that a woman's face is covered. It's righteousness that her head is covered, not her face. No, this is about the weakness of other men now. But you ain't got to give a brother but an inch and he'll be,
Did you see her eyes through that veil? Did you see them? Man, the way she looked at me.
damn man, she done covered up everything. She ain't got nothing but eyes. Now the eyes causing you a problem? Read, man.
Put on your blue blockers.
Yeah, now she got to have on Stevie Wonder glasses too. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 8, and it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out a window.
Now you see that? A long time. So this act here been going on for a minute. Same thing his father had to do now. It says when he had been there a long time. Go ahead.
And saw, and behold, Esau was sporting with Rebekah his wife.
See, that public display of affection, they done got caught. See? That PDA. Go ahead.
And Abimelech called Esau and said, behold, of a surety she's your wife. And how said you, she's my sister? And Esau said unto him, because I said, lest I die for her. And Abimelech said, what is this you have done unto us? One of the people might lightly have lain with your wife, and you should have brought guiltiness upon us.
So there's some kind of culture that's there that they know that once a woman is married, that another man is not supposed to touch her. They don't really have that I shouldn't kill you for her thing though. That don't seem to be there. You see how you have to pay attention to where it is you visit, and you can't assume that because they do one part of the culture that you keep, that they also do the other. Because they obviously respect the line between a man and his wife. Don't really respect that line of death though. Because each one of them have been afraid for their life. Go ahead.
And Abimelech charged all his people, saying, he that touches this man or his wife shall surely be put to death. Then Esau sowed in the land and received in the same year 100-fold. And Yahweh blessed him.
You notice he said, and charged all his people, saying, he that touches this man or his wife. The question was about the wife. Why he had to say the man? He know his people. He know his people. They respect, well, I got this woman is mine, but apparently they have some of that necromancy, that necromonger, you get to keep what you kill, Maybe they got some different kind of stuff going on. You got to be ready for that. You got to go in a strange land and observe how they operate. What gave him the thought process to operate that way? He's watching them. Don't just go into a new place and start running your mouth. You go into a new place, sit down and watch. Man, did he just hit him over the head with a hammer? Oh, and then he took the woman. Baby, get in the back. Baby, get in the back. See, this is where you got to pay attention and notice something here. Go ahead.
And the man waxed great and went forward and grew until he became very great. For he had possession of flocks and possession of herds and great store of servants. And the Philistines envied him. For all the wells which his father's servants had digged in the days of Abraham his father, the Philistines had stopped them up and filled them with earth. And Abimelech said unto Esau, Go from us, for you are much mightier than we. And Esau departed thence and pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar and dwelt there.
So you see, Israel has this problem wherever Israel goes, that eventually there's some kind of envy that comes from the surrounding neighboring people. That we don't like the blessings that are coming unto you. What do you think happened to our people here in the South? We got too much. Why do you think Tulsa burned down to the ground? And many other cities. Why do you think they got a whole city under Lake Lanier that everybody just keep mysteriously disappearing in every time they go swimming? There was too much black advancement. It caused jealousy among the neighboring individuals, and they came in, killed everybody, and ran them out of town. And it happened time and time and time again. So we would like to put this, say, this is how the Gentiles operate. No, clearly Africans do the same thing. Surely Shemites and Hamites are doing the same thing. So this is not a Gentile thing. This happened to us before we even got here. Go ahead.
And Esau digged again the wells of water, which they had digged in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them after the death of Abraham. And he called their names after the names by which his father had called them. And Esau's servants digged in the valley and found there a well of springing water. And the herdmen of Gerar did strive with Esau's herdmen, saying, The water is ours. And he called the name of the well Esaac, because they strove with him. And they digged another well and strove for that also, and he called the name of it Sitnah. And he removed from thence and digged another well, and for that they strove not, and he called the name of it Rehoboth.
Excuse me, bro. Could you go in my office and get me my cup out of there? I'll put some water in it for me. Thank you, brother. Go ahead.
And he said, For now Yahweh has made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. And he went out from thence to Beersheba, and Yahweh appeared unto him the same night, and said, I am the El of Abraham your father. Fear not, for I am with you, and will bless you and multiply your seed for my servant Abraham's sake. And he built an altar there, and called upon the name of Yahweh, and pitched his tent there, and there Esau's servants digged a well. Then Abimelech went to him from Gerar, and Ahazatah, one of his servants,
One of his friends.
And verse 26, Then Abimelech went to him from Gerar, and Ahazatah, one of his friends, and Pichal, the chief captain of his army. And Esau said unto them, Wherefore come you to me, seeing you hate me, and have sent me away from you? And they said, We saw certainly that Yahweh was with you, and we said, Let there be now an oath between us, even between us and you, and let us make a covenant with you, that you will do us no hurt, as we have not touched you, and as we have done unto you nothing but good, and have sent you away in peace. You are now the blessed of Yahweh.
So you have to some strange things how our people operate, but this blessing brings forth envy, which eventually bring forth some kind of violence against you. Every well of water they get, they either got to fight for it or it gets stopped. They have a problem. Now, you have to consider, them people might have been digging in that same area. They ain't gonna find no water over there. We done dug everywhere over there. Damn it, they drinking. Yeah. You gotta understand what that does to somebody mental. We've been digging over there for 5 years. How they just gonna come over there and the water just, and look at the water just shooting right out of it? How you finding water everywhere you go? Everybody not happy about how you're able to survive no matter what hardships come your way. We don't even see that as a blessing. We keep trying to get some addition and we see that as a blessing. Your ability to make it through turmoil is a blessing. Go ahead.
And he made them a feast, and they did eat and drink. And they rose up betimes in the morning and swore one to another. And Esaac sent them away, and they departed from him in peace. And it came to pass the same day that Esau's servants came and told him concerning the well which they had digged, and said unto him, We have found water. And he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba unto this day.
So if you understand some of these things, these are all lands that as Yahweh said, I'm going to give you, but he's toiling in these places first. Then eventually they become Israel's. But are we able to make it to the eventually? Go ahead.
And Esau was 40 years old when he took to wife Judith, the daughter of Beri the Hittite, and Bashmath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, which were a grief of mine unto Esau and to Rebekah.
All right, so let's go now to Deuteronomy chapter 8. See, when certain things come about, everybody has their own perspective on how we see things. Matter of fact, sometimes when you're trying to reach somebody, you know, they can clearly just throw that off and say, "Oh, that's your perspective. That's the way you see that." And what we have to do is try to keep ourselves in line with the perspective of the one whose perspective really counts, and that's Yahweh. So that's how we get to deal with a perspective of purpose. Not the perspective that we have, and everybody has one, based upon the things that you have encountered in your life. You find somebody who got bit by a dog when they was little, they have an extreme fear of animals. That perspective is based on something that they encountered. It's going to take something very, very strong to change that perspective. Well, understand, we all have those. We all have perspectives and things that we deal with a certain way based upon our upbringing and the things that we encountered. But Yahweh may lead you to a point where he needs you to change that perspective because of something that he needs you to do. Are you willing to do that? Deuteronomy chapter 8, and let's read verses 1 through 20.
All the commandments which I command you this day shall you observe to do, that you may live and multiply, and go in and possess the land which Yahweh swore unto your fathers. And you shall remember all the way which Yahweh your El led you these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble you and to prove you, to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep his commandments or no.
To humble you and to prove you. So Yahweh is attempting to change their perspective. He realizes that this one generation, I can't change their perspective. They have a captive mindset and there's absolutely nothing I can do with it. Just let them die off. Let me start with this next one. Let me start with this next one right here. Go ahead.
And he humbled you and suffered you to hunger and fed you with manna, which you knew not, neither did your fathers know, that he might make you know that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahweh does man live.
Right, and you have to remember, these are things that that we can read elsewhere. You know, Yeshua had to say this same thing to the adversary. Go ahead.
Your raiment waxed not old upon you, neither did your foot swell these 40 years.
So even in going through turmoil, understand, man, who done had a pair of shoes for 40 years? You don't even see that as a blessing. Man, them things supposed to been wore down. Now, I know when we were little, they used to have these Jeepers. That's what we call them, Jeepers. They had that rubber sole on them back that. The Adidas with 3 stripes. Jeepers either had 2 or 4. You always had the wrong number of stripes with the Jeepers. And them Jeepers made you tall. You know what I'm saying? Because there was just so much. You hope you couldn't wear these Jeepers down. I don't know. This must be what Yahweh made their sandals out of. Because boy, them Jeepers, you can stick your foot out the car and stop the car with these Jeepers and still have plenty of rubber on the bottom of these shoes. They also had them jeans. See, y'all think y'all got jeans. Y'all ain't got jeans. See, we grew up with jeans. Y'all remember them tough skin? They had jeans, tough skin. They were really tough on your skin. There's a reason why they call them tough skin. You could actually get burns if you didn't wear the right things up under these jeans. If you ever got a hole in them, they had patches. The patches were so thick, you look like a firefighter with these patches. And you be like, all right, mama, do you got a hold of them? Don't worry, baby, I got the patches. You got, damn. Thought I was going to get rid of it. No, those are going to be in your family for another 30 years. Those jeans are not going to wear down. They don't even make jeans like this no more. So you talking about 40 years and you still got the same pair of sandals. He done put a certain amount of covering on you. Your stuff don't even wear down. We don't even see that as a blessing because we want some new stuff. See, we mess up stuff so we can get something else. We don't see the blessing of the same thing still working. Go ahead.
Verse 5. You shall also consider in your heart that as a man chastens his son, so Yahweh your Elohim chastens you.
Please consider that in your heart. Don't think that Yahweh has forsaken you.
You know, because, you know, my friend them, I mean, they do wrong all the time. Don't nothing happen to them. All I did was I just drove up where wrong was happening, and he had me locked up. I didn't even do the wrong. I was just thinking about it. I was looking at it. I mean, I talked to her. Hey, wrong. How you doing? I miss you. I miss you so much. I didn't even do it. I got arrested.
Right. He chastened his son. Those of your friends who out there, see them Lucifer's kids. He's not dealing with them. Those are not his responsibility. You are. That's why you got a whooping for even being there. Go ahead.
Therefore you shall keep the commandments of Yahweh your Elohim to walk in his ways and to fear him.
But see, we think those people are blessed.
See, they did wrong and then nothing happened.
Because they Lucifer's children. That's not a blessing. That's a curse. Because guess what's happening to their sins? They piling up. While you thinking they blessed, this is what their judgment is going to be like. Now they got 422 cases to get tried in front of Yahshua. Because he kept kicking you down, you got 2 cases. Which one you think gonna fare better in the judgment of salvation? The one who has 422 cases or the one who has 2? And it wasn't like you didn't try the other 420 times. He just kept kicking you over. Every time you tried, he just kicked you. It wasn't that you was a better individual, he just wouldn't let you do it. I tell people straight up, I tried to do wrong, I just couldn't get it right. But I damn sure tried it. I declare in there, I tried. I realized that he just wouldn't let me. I didn't understand why at the time. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 7. For Yahweh your Elohim brings you into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and depths that spring out of valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley, and vines and fig trees, and pomegranates, a land of oil olive and honey, a land wherein you shall eat bread without scarceness. You shall not lack anything in it, a land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills you may dig brass.
So the land has everything you need. You have to look at how the nations are exploiting the continent of Africa. All of the cell phones, the computers, everything that they need is there. And they go exploit those people to make it. Exploit the entire continent. We watched the whole thing about the blood batters. Everybody talking about how, they want to get their little electric car. You got Africans making, a couple dollars a day dying trying to get all the things that they need to make these batteries. Yet the people ride around in their electric car looking down at you.
You finna get gas?
How many people done died for you to get that electric car that you looking down on people?
Well, I'm helping the environment.
You should see the little kids that's trapped in a hole. Their environment ain't helped by you driving that electric vehicle. And then when they set on fire, they can't put them out because it's an electrical fire. So anybody who got one and you park that damn electric car in your garage, you a new fool. Because you're going to lose your whole damn house because of a car. Because when that thing start to burn, they can't put it out. That thing better be parked out back. It'll burn down out there. If it burn down your house, now you ain't got no car or house. Go ahead, bro.
When you have eaten and art full, then you shall bless Yahweh your Elohim for the good land which he has given you. Beware that you forget not Yahweh your Elohim, in not keeping his commandments and his judgments and his statutes, which I command you this day. Lest when you have eaten and art full, and have built goodly houses and dwell therein, and when your herds and your flocks multiply, and your silver and your gold is multiplied, and all that you have is multiplied, then your heart will be lifted up, and you forget Yahweh your Elohim, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage.
He knows exactly when Israel is going to catch this selective amnesia. It's right when you don't have to worry about food and clothing and where you live. All of a sudden, you're going to think less and less about Yahweh. He knows exactly when this is going to happen. See, when we in a need, oh boy, we call on Yahweh. Let the left side of our body stop working. Oh, Yahweh. Oh, Lord, I pray, oh, Father, oh, God, oh, I love thee, yes, I thee, thy thitherest. Oh, we all in it. Let him heal it and let us get a few dollars in our pocket. We ain't prayed in months now. Right. Go ahead.
Who led you through that great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions and drought, where there was no water? Who brought you forth water out of the rock of flint? Who fed you in the wilderness with manna, which your fathers knew not, that he might humble you and that he might prove you, to do you good at your latter end.
Right, but we're not really seeing that. Okay, so understand, we have a journey that we have to make, right? But then in that journey, there's some things that Yahweh has to change your perspective about. So to do that, he might have to take some things from you. See, your perspective is the way it is because of the things that are surrounding you. To alter that, he might have to remove some things. In their case, it was daily food. No. Let's just take this right here. So what we gonna eat? You gonna eat this right here. You gonna eat this bread every day. What? The same thing? Go ahead.
And you say in your heart, my power and the might of mine hand has gotten me this wealth.
Yeah, we said, I went to college. God didn't go to college. That degree said my name. I did this.
Go ahead.
But you shall remember Yahweh your Elohim, for it is he that gives you power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant which he sware unto your fathers, as it is this day. And it shall be, if you do at all forget Yahweh your Elohim, and walk after other gods, and serve them, and worship them, I testify against you this day that you shall surely perish. As the nations which Yahweh destroys before your face, so shall you perish, because you would not be obedient unto the voice of Yahweh your Elohim.
Right. And part of that being obedience is about how we decide we're going to see things. See, some people will read some of you, well, you know, the way I see that is this. Oh, okay, that's the way you see that. So we can all read the same book, but if we all gonna have our own perspective on how each thing should be looked at and dealt with, you can have 100 people in the room reading the same book, but you got 100 different perspectives on the same scripture. Let's go to Numbers chapter 11. You know, the one thing that we all believe, I know it because I remember being at that point myself, that we believe that there's certain things that, you know, we can change on our own.
Well, you know, whenever I want, you know, I can just change this.
Every crackhead has said the same thing.
You know, I can stop smoking dope at any time. I want to be behind this car wash at 2 a.m. Yeah, doing that strange dance.
Right. You want to do that. That's what you want to do. Right. So you. So anytime you want to get off crack, you can get off. Anytime now. So you want it now because you want to be on it. You know, because it just serves your body right now. That's right. That's what you're telling yourself. Right. But see, we hold that same thought process about other things. I can stop doing this whenever I want. Keep fooling yourself with that. There's certain things he gonna have to make you stop. There's certain things he gonna have to make you start.
I mean, I'm gonna start, you know.
Hey, let's be honest. All us done said,
You know, at some point in my life, I'm gonna start eating healthier.
every week I be telling myself that same thing.
One day.
Trying to convince myself, all right, now today you need to start. Today you need to start every day. What you think people get them gym memberships every year?
You know what? This is my New Year's resolution. I'm gonna be in better health this year.
Right. You know, I found out one thing about the gym. Just by buying the membership, you don't get muscles. I'll be damned. You know, you actually got to go in there and work out. I found that out. I told him, get my damn money back. Go ahead, brother. Cancel that membership.
This membership ain't worth nothing. I done had this thing 6 months. I ain't got no muscles yet.
Go ahead, brother.
Numbers chapter 11 and verse 1. And when the people complained, it displeased Yahweh. And Yahweh heard it, and his anger was kindled. And the fire of Yahweh burnt among them, and consumed them that were in the uttermost parts of the camp.
Right. See, we don't really appreciate Yahweh trying to change our perspective on things. First of all, we don't like how he operates. Go ahead.
And the people cried unto Moshe, and when Moshe prayed unto Yahweh, the fire was quenched. And he called the name of the place Taberah, because the fire of Yahweh burnt among them. And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lusting, and the children of Israel also wept again, and said, Who shall give us flesh to eat?
Right. So the mixed multitude, we have a problem. Our perspective is directly connected to the individuals surrounding us. See, this is why you have to be careful about the circle that you place yourself in. So once the mixed multitude goes a lusting, here we go right behind it. There's certain situations that you got to look at the circle and say, nah, I'm stepping out of this circle. I can see how this circle is going to negatively influence my perspective. Go ahead.
We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers, and the melons, and the leeks, and the onions, and the garlic. But now our soul is dried away. There's nothing at all beside this manna before our eyes.
Right. One thing is, it's blessed of Yahweh until they get tired of it. It was a holy meal. It was angels' food. Now they're like, man, we ain't got nothing but this light bread. Nobody want this. And when it says give us flesh to eat, I need to make sure you are able to have this picture in your mind. You see them eating manna. You do understand the flock right there, right? So when somebody's talking about having flesh to eat and there ain't no meat, let me explain to you like this. Okay, so Yahweh come home with a sack and say, all right, here go a burger. All right, I'm gonna take the meat. I'm just gonna give you the bread. But the meat's still right there. And you gotta eat the bread. But you are completely fixated on that piece of meat that's sitting right there. Because it's right there. It's right there. Go ahead.
You know, even in speaking of perspective, you know, you look at verse 5. Remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely, and the cucumbers. You wasn't eating that freely, y'all were slaves. You had to work for that food.
Hey man, but we ain't got it right now. See, all that matters is right now.
Now you talking about you humbling us. How you gonna bring us out of bondage and we eating less than we was eating then? I wanna go back to jail. At least they gave me 3 hops on the cop.
See, he's trying to get some mindset going, but they said, hey, it was freely they could eat. Because let me tell you something, they growing. They ain't watching them. They was probably freely stealing it. But what? Come on, man. There's a reason why the slave mount, when it got dark, you had to go in. Cause you couldn't see where them watermelons went. Wasn't there some collards right there?
You know what? Everybody go in. We can't see these niggas. They going, and one of them went left and he came back right. Absolutely not. There's no more picking tonight.
If they'd have had lights, they'd have worked us to death. So yeah, it was free. Ain't no telling how they were getting it. But when you get out of there and you ain't getting nothing but bread, hey, you start to wonder, okay, what is he trying to do here? Go ahead, bro.
I was just gonna say, from then to now, we still with the melons, boy. Cucumbers and the melons.
Hey. We ain't changed. We the same one. Go ahead.
But now our soul is dried away. There's nothing at all besides this manna before our eyes.
Besides this light bread. But what it say? To humble you and to prove you, Yahweh is pulling some things from you. But are we understanding that? Or are we just counting everything that we consider loss? Go ahead.
And the manna was as coriander seed, and the color thereof as the color of bdellium. And the people went about and gathered it, and ground it in mills, or beat it in a mortar, and baked it in pans, and made cakes of it. And the taste of it was as the taste of fresh oil. And when the dew fell upon the camp in the night, the manna fell upon it. Then Moshe heard the people weep throughout their families, every man in the door of his tent, and the anger of Yahweh was kindled greatly. Moshe also was displeased.
Moshe heard the people weep. They cried, we don't want no more bread. So you got grown men crying as he deliver more manna. They just so they hoping like a cheeseburger just gonna come out. So they just start crying, okay? And it done tick Yahweh off. Go ahead.
And Moshe said unto Yahweh, wherefore have you afflicted your servant? And wherefore have I not found favor in your sight, that you laid the burden of all this people upon me? Have I conceived all this people? Have I begotten them, that you should say unto me, carry them in your bosom, as a nursing father bears the sucking child, unto the land which you sweareth unto their fathers? When should I have flesh to give unto all this people? For they weep unto me, saying, give us flesh, that we may eat. I am not able to bear all this people alone, because it is too heavy for me. And if you deal thus with me, kill me, I pray you, out of hand, if I have found favor in your sight, and let me not see my wretchedness.
And you see the power of Israel putting that weight on Moshe, and then he turns around and puts that weight upon Yahweh. Now he is disenchanted because of the things that are being brought to him. Go ahead, bro.
I'm just saying, you got to look at it. It's funny that, like you say, with the perspective, everybody is so blinded, focused on the manna. You all forgot that y'all got a herd? If you wanted flesh so bad.
Well, but he wouldn't let them. But see, that's the thing. He was probably blocking them from all that, because at some point there's a question. He said, "Shall a whole herd and the flocks be killed for them?" No. Well, he said, "Is my hand short?" No. And then he said, "No. I'm gonna give him flesh, but you ain't gonna have to kill the herd for him." See? So there were things that Yahweh was blocking, but that's also a part of your obedience teaching. See, a lot of us cannot eat meat when there ain't no meat. It's like, I it's so funny about the people who go to jail and they get religious and they get off drugs, right? And then they come bragging to you, "Yeah, I ain't did no drugs in 5 years." How long you been in prison? 5 years. Yeah. Well, talk to me in about a week and a half. All right. Don't tell me about your good no drug spree while you been, at lockdown. Okay. Don't talk to me about that. Talk to me about what you did when you got free. Or you find people when they in lockdown, they praying all the time. Talk to them 3 months out of jail. So where you going to church at? What? Oh, damn, that word didn't even register to you, did it? That word didn't have no place of reference anymore now that you're not in jail. Right. So, Yahweh want to see how you operate. Remember, he says, you know what? I'm not going to remove all these nations. I'm going to leave them there as a test to you to see if you're going to serve me or not. See, so you can go home and remove all the cookies from the house and your kids can't eat cookies. Or you can put a cookie jar right there on the counter and say, "Cookies, touch them and die." Then you come back home. Count those cookies. What? How you gonna know whether or not you got some obedient children if all you do is take everything and they don't have any opportunity? No. We're gonna have cookie jar. But I'm gonna direct how many cookies come out that jar. See? That's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna remove the cookies, so now can't nobody get none. That's not what we're gonna do. Did you finish that, brother? Let's go to Luke chapter 4. Luke chapter 4, and we're gonna read verses 1 through 13.
Luke chapter 4 and verse 1. And Yahshua, being full of the Holy Spirit, returned from Jordan, and was led by the Spirit into the wilderness, being 40 days tempted of the devil. And in those days he did eat nothing. And when they were ended, he afterward hungered. And the devil said unto him, If you be the Son of Elohim, command this stone that it be made bread.
So the adversary knows exactly when to come at him. All right? It says he went into was led by the Spirit into the wilderness. The same thing that the children of Israel had to go through, led by the Spirit into the wilderness. And in that wilderness is where they then was given this manna. So now here is Yahshua and the adversary having this discussion on the same lines. Go ahead.
And Yahshua answered him, saying, It is written that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word of Elohim.
Right, the very same thing that was said before. So Yahweh's still doing the same test. Go ahead.
And the devil, taking him up into an high mountain, showed unto him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And the devil said unto him, All this power will I give you, and the glory of them, for that is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will, I give it. If you therefore will worship me, all shall be yours.
Right. So what he's trying to do, he's trying to see if he can change Yahshua's perspective. Look, I can give you all the things that Yahweh can. It's given unto me. I'm giving this. I give it to whom I will. I just need to change how you look at these things. Go ahead.
And Yahshua answered and said unto him, Get you behind me, Satan, for it is written, You shall worship the Adonai your Elohim, and him only shall you serve.
So as Lucifer tries to change his perspective, he goes back to the place where his perspective was given unto him by the word that's written. Go ahead.
And he brought him to Jerusalem and set him on a pinnacle of the temple, and said unto him, If you be the son of Elohim, cast yourself down from hence, for it is written, He shall give his angels charge over you to keep you.
So now he wants to see if he can convince him to harm this fleshly body that the spirit is now in. See, before you're talking about a spirit, the spirit of Israel, that at the baptism descended in the bodily shape of a dove and rested upon that body. Now he wants to see if he can convince him to harm that body. That was a specially crafted body to hold the spirit. He wants to see if he can get him to harm it. Throw it off this building. He said, you're going to be taken care of. A spirit who doesn't have any hunger or have any of these physical ailments, he wants to see if he can get it to violate the flesh code. Jump out this building. You'll still be alive as a spirit, but you're going to be done ruin this body that he's using. And if I can get you to ruin this body, I done ruin your job. Because now it's not fit for sacrifice. See, the adversary don't go right into the place that he's trying to destroy. He'll start left to go right. Go ahead.
And in their hands they shall bear you up, lest any time you dash your foot against a stone. And Yahshua answered and said unto him, It is said, You shall not tempt the Adonai your Elohim. And when the devil had ended all the temptation, he departed from him for a season.
All right, for a season. Let's go to Acts chapter 10. We all have to be prepared to get a visit by the adversary to try and talk you out of what Yahweh has promised you, to offer you something that sounds better or easier way.
I can give you that same thing. All you gotta do is do this with me. You just hang out.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and staying in your book is so rich because as we were going over that chapter right there in the verses, I'm sitting here because I can see where you're going. And as many times as we read it, you see the elevation if you stay in your book. Because as we're going there, I'm seeing like, okay, he's trying to get him to damage this body. If the body is damaged, then it's not a perfect sacrifice.
It's blemished. It's blemished. But you have to have good defense, you have to learn how to understand offense. So to block a punch, sometimes you might have to get hit in the face. Now, your drive to block a punch just got higher. See, you don't really understand, I don't want to be no, defensive fighter. I want to get all the cheers in the crowd. I want them to yell my name. You know what I'm saying? Tyrone. That's you. You don't want to be no defensive fight until you get hit in your face and you feel what it feels. You know what? I want to be a defensive fighter because my whole face is like a person was born out of there. So when you to have some defense and you understand offense, okay, so he moving here, he's setting up this over here. So then you have to do that. But there's certain things you have to learn how to understand. Watch these kids and how they play their games. And you understand, they picking up, they damn sure picking up the stuff about that foolishness. They tell you foolishness like, oh yeah, see, you got to do this, you got to do this. See, Daddy, you're losing because you're not pressing L2. You're L2, Daddy. L2. You can't do it now, Daddy. You got to wait till the man come down there and you pressing L2 too early. Out, and you know how, you know what I'm saying, I do it just like the kids when you ain't good at nothing. I hate this game. Go ahead, bro. Acts chapter 10.
There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band, a devout man, and one that feared Elohim with all his house, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to Elohim always. He saw in a vision, evidently about the 9th hour of the day, an angel of Elohim coming into him, and saying unto him, Cornelius. And when he looked on him, he was afraid, and said, What is it, Adonai? And he said unto him, Your prayers and your alms are come up for a memorial before Elohim. And now send men to Joppa, and call for one Simeon, whose surname is Peter. He lodges with one Simeon, a tanner, whose house is by the seaside. He shall tell you what you oughtest to do. And when the angel which spake unto Cornelius was departed, he called two of his household servants, and a devout soldier of them that waited on him continually. And when he had declared all these things unto them, he sent them to Joppa. On the morrow, as they went on their journey, and drew near unto the city, Cephas went up upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. And he became very hungry, and would have eaten. But while they made ready, he fell into a trance, and saw heaven opened, and a certain vessel descending unto him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the four corners, and let down to the earth, wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Cephas, kill and eat. But Cephas said, Not so, Adonai, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean.
Now, this is an interesting approach, because it's Yahweh bringing forth this situation, and he's like, oh, no, I'm not going to do this. But he's actually doing some reverse type thing here to change his perspective. It looks like he's trying to change his perspective on dietary matters, but that ain't what he's dealing with. Go ahead.
And the voice spake unto him again the second time, What Elohim has cleansed, that call not you common. This was done 3 times, and the vessel was received up again into heaven. Now while Cephas doubted in himself what this vision which he had seen should mean, behold, the men which were sent from Cornelius had made inquiry for Simeon's house, and stood before the gate, and called and asked whether Simeon, which was surnamed Peter, were lodged there. While Cephas thought on the vision, the Spirit said unto him, Behold, 3 men seek you. Arise therefore, and get you down, and go with them, doubting nothing, for I have sent them. Then Cephas went down to the men which were sent unto him from Cornelius, and said, Behold, I am he whom you seek. What is the cause wherefore you are come? And they said, Cornelius the centurion, a just man, and one that fears Elohim, and of good report among all the nation of the Yehudis, was warned from Elohim by an holy angel to send for you into his house, and to hear words of you. Then called he them in, and lodged them. And on the morrow Cephas went away with them, and certain brethren from Joppa accompanied him. And the morrow, after they entered into Caesarea, and Cornelius waited for them, and called together his kinsmen and near friends. And as Cephas was coming in, Cornelius met him, and fell down at his feet and worshipped him. But Cephas took him up, saying, Stand up, I myself also am a man. And as he talked with him, he went in and found many that were come together. And he said unto them, You know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Yehudi to keep company or come unto one of another nation. But Elohim has showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean.
In other words, Yahweh went through all of this so he could change his perspective on how he looked at men. But he used it by going through the direction of dealing with animals and food. But what he was really trying to alter is how he looked at men, specifically men of another nation. See, he was holding this thing, all we have to do is let one thing happen and we then attribute that unto everybody. So now they look at it, oh no, all Gentiles, don't deal with none of them. So now Yahweh is doing this to alter how he deals. Now, this is going to be a difficult thing. Understand that he's carried this thought process his entire life. So this is just not just one of them easy things that, hey, I'm done with it. I'll never have to deal with it again. No, you might have to keep fighting with this perspective, this new perspective to get it, ironed in. Go ahead.
Therefore came I unto you without gainsaying, as soon as I was sent for. I asked therefore, for what intent you have sent for me? And Cornelius said, 4 days ago I was fasting until this hour, and at the 9th hour I prayed in my house, and behold, a man stood before me in bright clothing, and said, Cornelius, your prayer is heard, and your alms are had in remembrance in the sight of Elohim. Send therefore to Joppa, and call hither Simeon, whose surname is Peter. He is lodged in the house of one Simeon, a tanner by the seaside, who, when he comes, shall speak unto you. Immediately therefore I sent to you, and you have well done that you are come. Now therefore are we all here present before Elohim, to hear all things that are commanded you of Elohim. Then Cephas opened his mouth and said, Of a truth I perceive that Elohim is no respecter of persons, but in every nation he that fears him and works righteousness is accepted with him.
Now, this a big change. This is hard. Yahweh had to do something so that he can get him on the same line where he is. Okay? It's like, look, I'm doing something different, and I need to change your perspective so you're able to see what I'm dealing with. Otherwise, we're going to have some issues. Because I'm going to keep sending Gentiles and you're going to keep having a problem with them. Go ahead.
But you see how quick he had to make that turn, though. He ain't get months and years and decades to get his mind right.
Well, one thing, like I said, sometimes every now and then something will stick out and you got to deal with it. It's like dealing with the old man. It'll jump back out there, and sometimes you got to grab him and push him back in. Go ahead.
Verse 36. The word which Elohim sent on to the children of Israel, preaching peace by Yahshua HaMashiach. He is Adonai of all. That word, I say, you know, which was published throughout all Judea, and began from Galilee, after the baptism which Yohanan preached. How Elohim anointed Yahshua of Nazareth with the Holy Spirit and with power, who went about doing good and healing all that were oppressed of the devil, for Elohim was with him. And we are witnesses of all things which he did both in the land of the Yehudis and in Jerusalem, whom they slew and hanged on a tree. Him Elohim raised up the 3rd day and showed him openly, not to all the people, but unto witnesses chosen before of Elohim, even to us, who did eat and drink with him after he rose from the dead. And he commanded us to preach unto the people and to testify that it is he which is ordained of Elohim to be the judge of quick and dead. To him give all the prophets witness, that through his name whosoever believes in him shall receive remission of sins. While Cephas yet spake these words, the Holy Spirit fell on all them which heard the word. And they of the circumcision which believed were astonished, as many as came with Cephas, because that on the Gentiles also was poured out the gift of the Holy Spirit.
So then you see that now there was even a purpose for some other Jews to accompany him, because otherwise all this is just Cephas' story. See, Yahweh has a purpose in the things that he does. So now somebody else gets to witness this, and they're amazed, because now things that are happening unto these Gentiles are happening in the reverse order of how it happened with Israel. Go ahead.
For they heard them speak with tongues and magnify Elohim. Then answered Cephas, Can any man forbid water, that these should not be baptized, which have received the Holy Spirit as well as we?
Right. But when you read how everything was supposed to go, it was baptism, laying of hands, then receiving of the Spirit. But so that the children of Israel would not forbid Gentiles from getting a baptism, he had to give them the Spirit first so that Israel wouldn't block their baptism. But before he can do it, he's got to change his perspective, and now he has to help change Israel's perspective. Go ahead.
And he commanded them to be baptized in the name of the Adonai. Then prayed they him to tarry certain days.
All right, let's go to Galatians chapter 2. See, sometimes it's hard to let go of those other perspectives, because these are things, these are thought processes that we have carried around for a very long time.
Galatians chapter 2 and verse 1. Then 14 years after I went up again to Jerusalem with Barnabas, and took Titus with me also. And I went up by revelation, and communicated unto them that the gospel which I preach among the Gentiles, but privately to them which were of reputation, lest by any means I should run or had run in vain. But neither Titus, who was with me, being a Greek, was compelled to be circumcised. And all that because of false brethren unawares brought in, who came in privily to spy out our liberty which we have in the Mashiach Yahshua, that they might bring us into bondage. To whom we gave place by subjection, no, not for an hour, that the truth of the gospel might continue with you. But of these who seem to be somewhat, whatsoever they were, it makes no matter to me. Elohim accepts no man's person. For they who seem to be somewhat in conference added nothing to me. But contrariwise, when they saw that the gospel of the uncircumcision was committed unto me, as the gospel of the circumcision was unto Cephas. For he that wrought effectually in Cephas to the apostleship of the circumcision, the same was mighty in me toward the Gentiles. And when Jacob, Cephas, and Johanan, who seemed to be pillars, perceived the grace that was given unto me, they gave to me and Barnabas the right hands of fellowship, that we should go on to the heathen, and they on to the circumcision.
So they understand this group is going to teach this group, this group is going to teach that group over there. Go ahead.
Only they would that we should remember the poor, the same which I also was forward to do. But when Cephas was come to Antioch, I withstood him to the face, because he was to be blamed. For before that certain came from Jacob, he did eat with the Gentiles. But when they were come, he withdrew and separated himself, fearing them which were of the circumcision.
So what happened? That old man stepped back out. See, the perspective that was changed, once he got around another group of individuals, the perspective changed back. And somebody had to help usher the right perspective out. And he had to do that rather aggressively. See, his perspective had already been changed. But when he got around some other people, see, I keep trying to tell people, the people that you are around influence your perspective on how you look at things. And we think that we can hang around anybody and do anything. Soon as he get around them, his perspective has changed back. His perspective had already been changed. He already saw the light. But what happened? That other energy. So you think you can put yourself in any kind of energy and you're going to be all right. That's your own arrogance and your own vanity. I can handle that. I guarantee you, no person, when they were writing down what you want to be when you grow up, I guarantee you, none of them people, go look at them 5th grade papers, and none of them say, I want to be a crackhead behind Glenwood Flea Market and behind the Glenwood Car Wash. Not one of them wrote that down on their sheet. But everybody think, I can try this. It ain't going to harm me. Right. That's your own vanity. Telling you you can handle anything. Soon as he gets in the company of other individuals, his perspective changed. Go ahead.
And the other Yehudis disassembled likewise with him.
You see that? You see how he's afraid of their thought, then they change their perspective to go with his. So he running behind them and he's leading them. How you gonna do that? How you run behind somebody and lead them at the same time? Because you don't know you leading. You afraid of their thought and they taking your lead. How the hell you gonna lead and follow? Go ahead.
Insomuch that Barnabas also was carried away with their dissimulation.
Look at that. Look, it went from one to the other to the other. Go ahead.
And this is something Barnabas is used to being around them and dealing with them.
Right. But you see what happened? You get in a certain circle, that energy starts to affect your energy, and now your perspective is all of a sudden different. But see, this is that thing. We think we can go anywhere and hang with anybody, and you don't know those people's energy yet. And you get amongst them people and find out, man, my perspective has been altered. Here's the thing. Something happened for him to see, for it to be shown that being in that circle altered his perspective. What happened if you don't figure that out until 20 years later? I know when this changed. When I started hanging out with these people right here. When I went here with these cats, this is when my thought process changed. What happened if you don't figure that out to 20 years? And then what happened to all the people that you are around that you have now infected them with that perspective? And nobody finds out till 20 years later. Right. Go ahead, brother.
When I saw that they walked not uprightly according to the truth of the gospel, I said unto Cephas before them all, if you, being a Yehudi, liveth after the manner of Gentiles, and not as the Yehudis, why compel you the Gentiles to live as do the Yehudis? We who are Yehudis by nature, and not sinners of the Gentiles, knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law, but by the faith of Yahshua HaMashiach. Even we have believed in Yahshua HaMashiach, that we might be justified by the faith of Yahshua, and not by the works of the law. For by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified.
All right, that's as far as I want to go there. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 3.
Second Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 1.
Start at verse 1, yep.
Finally, brethren, pray for us, that the word of the Adonai may have free course and be glorified, even as it is with you, and that we may be delivered from unreasonable and wicked men, for all men have not faith. But the Adonai is faithful, who shall establish you and keep you from evil. And we have confidence in the Adonai touching you, that you both do and will do the things which we command you. And the Adonai direct your hearts into the love of Elohim and into the patient waiting for the Mashiach. Now we command you, brethren, in the name of our Adonai Yahshua HaMashiach, that you withdraw yourselves from every brother that walks disorderly, and not after the tradition which he received of us.
Right. Now, if you just attribute that unto a certain look of people, then you're going to attribute that in the wrong way. It said examine these individuals by their deeds, not say, oh, you know what, that's a Gentile. Because you're going to find, you're going to have Hebrews that are going to do worse than the Gentiles doing. And they knew the law. They were taught the law. They were raised in the law. Didn't stop them from doing nothing. Go ahead.
For yourselves know how you ought to follow us, for we behaved not ourselves disorderly among you. Neither did we eat any man's bread for naught, but wrought with labor and travail night and day, that we might not be chargeable to any of you. Not because we have not power, but to make ourselves an ensample unto you to follow us. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat. For we hear that there are some which walk among you disorderly, working not at all, but are busybodies.
Right. And when you don't work, you got plenty enough time to be a busybody. That's why you got so much energy to be in other people's junk. You ain't got nothing else going on. Go ahead.
Now them that are such we command and exhort by our Adonai Yahshua HaMashiach, that with quietness they work and eat their own bread. But you, brethren, be not weary in well-doing. And if any man obey not our word by this letter, note that man and have no company with him, that he may be ashamed. Yet count him not as an enemy, but admonish him as a brother.
Admonish him as a brother. Let's go to Jonah chapter 3. Jonah chapter 3, and we're going to start that at verse 1. And we know the setup of the beginning of this is Yahweh sending Jonah to go do some things, and he doesn't want Yahweh to have mercy upon these people. And he believes that Yahweh might, so he went in another direction. And how many times do we get in a situation where we're angry with some people, those people have done some things against us, and we want Yahweh to punish those people? But what happened if they repent? Are they not supposed to get the opportunity of forgiveness? Or is that only available for us? Is that not available for the people who've sinned against us? Now they still got to make the thing right. They can't just say, you know, my bad, dog. That ain't gonna work. You got to fix some of that stuff that you broke. You got to replace some of that stuff you stole. But if they do that and restore the pledge, you got to back off. You can't keep going to Yahweh. So you gonna kill him or what? Jonah chapter 3, and let's start that at verse 1.
And the word of Yahweh came unto Jonah the second time, saying, Arise, go unto Nineveh, that great city, and preach unto it the preaching that I bid you. So Jonah arose and went on to Nineveh, according to the word of Yahweh. Now Nineveh was an exceeding great city of 3 days' journey. And Jonah began to enter into the city a day's journey. And he cried and said, Yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown.
Now, this is the thing that was bidden unto him to preach unto them. So he's saying that this is what's happening. Yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown. So you have to also consider the vanity that must be in here if the people repent. Because then it looked like Jonah ain't got power. Because he came and said you're going to get destroyed. If they repent and they don't get destroyed, now, how does he look? Go ahead.
So the people of Nineveh believed Elohim and proclaimed a fast and put on sackcloth from the greatest of them even to the least of them. For word came unto the king of Nineveh, and he arose from his throne, and he laid his robe from him and covered him with sackcloth and sat in ashes.
Which by the way, is very unlikely in most situations. The more people have, the more they don't want to repent or listen to anything that somebody else has to say. So by having this man come in and say this, not only did the people believe, but the ruler believed. Go ahead.
And he caused it to be proclaimed and published through Nineveh by the decree of the king and his nobles, saying, let neither man nor beast, herd nor flock, taste anything. Let them not feed nor drink water.
Now, this is where things get interesting. Jonah has gone in here and changed their perspective. It's his perspective that ain't changed. But he done changed theirs though. Go ahead.
But let man and beast be covered with sackcloth, and cry mightily unto Elohim. Yea, let them turn every one from his evil way, and from the violence that is in their hands. Who can tell if Elohim will turn and repent, and turn away from his fierce anger, that we perish not? And Elohim saw their works, that they turned from their evil way, and Elohim repented of the evil that he had said that he would do unto them, and he did it not. But it displeased Jonah exceedingly, and he was very angry. And he prayed unto Yahweh and said, I pray you, O Yahweh, was not this my saying when I was yet in my country? Therefore I fled before unto Tarshish, for I knew that you are a gracious Elohim, and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repenteth you of the evil. Therefore, now Yahweh, take, I beseech you, my life from me, for it is better for me to die than to live.
I mean, we into some full blown pity party. He got the little hat on. He got the little thing, you know, the little thing you get there and they blowing. It just run out. Yeah, he got all everything for this pity party right here. It displeased him that Yahweh has had mercy on these other people. Why? Because he wanted them to be punished. But there's mercy in Yahweh, and we have to be make our own hearts and minds available for somebody else to receive mercy, not just you. So he was successful in his plight, although he didn't want to be successful. He was successful by going in there talking to them. They repented. But as they repented, he revolted. So now, as he's going to change their perspective, lo and behold, the real job was Yahweh changing his perspective. So the story ain't about them repenting or them changing their perspective. It's really about him changing his. All the time he's on a journey to find himself. Go ahead.
Then said Yahweh, does you well to be angry? So Jonah went out of the city and sat on the east side of the city, and there made him a booth and sat under it in the shadow, till he might see what would become of the city. And Yahweh Elohim prepared a gourd and made it to come up over Jonah, that it might be a shadow over his head, to deliver him from his grief. So Jonah was exceeding glad of the gourd. But Elohim prepared a worm when the morning rose the next day, and it smote the gourd that it withered. And it came to pass, when the sun did arise, that Elohim prepared a vehement east wind, and the sun beat upon the head of Jonah, that he fainted, and wished himself to die, and said, it is better for me to die than to live. And Elohim said to Jonah, does you well to be angry for the gourd? And he said, I do well to be angry, even unto death.
Right. Now, even Yahweh ain't going to change his perspective right now. See, he just mad and he happy to be mad. You ever seen somebody happy to be mad?
I'm mad and I'm happy.
How the hell you mad and you happy?
Because I'm happy to be mad.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Then said Yahweh, you had pity on the gourd, for the which you had not labored, neither made it grow, which came up in a night and perished in a night. And should not I spare Nineveh, that great city, wherein are more than 60,000 persons that cannot discern between their right hand and their left hand, and also much cattle?
And then you understand by looking at that this is why he chose Jonah to go. Because I know you don't want them to be saved. That's why I'm sending you. See, I could send somebody who want them to repent. But I want to send you. Because in dealing with them, I'm going to deal with you. Now, it is imperative that we remember that servants serve. A servant does not get to choose the capacity of his servitude. The manner in which we serve may abruptly change depending on the need of the Most High Elohim at that very moment. The question is, are we able to alter our previous thoughts, actions, and directives to become fit for the Master's use? It is important that we consider that you may not understand or be in approval of the new direction that the Master gives unto you. The scripture mentions Moshe as the meekest around. Moshe changed his perspective every time Yahweh gave him a new direction. And in dealing with that, I've mentioned this a couple of times in the security that came from a job that I didn't ask for. So I wanted to show y'all something. When you talk about changing perspective, I had been an independent contractor for at least 13 years. I've been working for myself, completely in control of my time. When I didn't want to work, I just didn't go to work. So it allowed me to do everything that we needed to do to set up this organization. It never does occur to you that, okay, now there are faithful brothers in this congregation that I don't have to do everything that I had to do when we began it. Well, then Yahweh completely changed. I then was pushed to get a regular job. Kish, who always had a job, was then pushed to be an independent contractor. I wasn't trying to hear that. I was praying for something else. But I want to show you the security that came from the job that I didn't want. You are now looking at one. This is the anniversary of me going into the hospital. This is one of the bills. Can you read that number up there, Mikael? What's the number of that total bill? $582,000. That's one of them. That's one of them. Now, as a independent contractor, now Kish independent, what would $582,000 bill do for you right now? Come on, let's keep it 1,000.
Had a whole lot of unnecessary stress.
Somebody ain't getting paid, and they can call all they want. We're gonna have to. I'm gonna put this house in my mama's name. We're gonna have to do something. There's a whole lot of things gonna have to change. But see, this is the job that I did not want. And let me tell you how Yahweh worked. They called me out the blue. I ain't filled out no application. I ain't asked nobody for no job. Matter of fact, when they called me, I said, how the hell y'all get my number? They said, you filled out some years ago. I said, well, I need to change my number. I said, look, I'm not interested in no job. I gave them somebody else's name. And then they got a job. Lo and behold, 3 months later, they called me back again. Yahweh was trying to change my perspective. I know you done had this perspective, son. And it was right for the time it was right. But it is no longer right anymore. Why? Because I need you to change it. I didn't want to change it. But if I did not, do you see the number at the bottom of that damn piece of paper? That's one bill. There's another one that's like 50,000. There's another one that's like 14. They just go on and on. I would not have been able to pay any of that. See, Yahweh gets ready to change your perspective on some things, and you don't know what's around the corner. See, your perspective is based upon the things that you know right now. The problem is, he has information that you don't have. So you think your perspective is right, but there's information that you are not privy to. I wasn't privy to what was about to happen. He was. So he pushed and pushed until my perspective changed, and I said, all right, I take the damn job. Lo and behold, that was Yahweh blessing me. Now I got to keep Yahweh, I'm sorry. I kept kicking against the pricks and you was trying to save me. that made me look at a whole other things. Because to me, this whole year has been a year of grace for me. Because everything could have ended for me. So I made a decision. You know what? I'm going to reevaluate all the other things that I have looked at in a certain way. I'm going to look and see and deal with things in a different way. Because otherwise, if you get a second chance and you do everything the same way, what good was your second chance? You damn sure ain't showing your Elohim that you are appreciative of your second chance by doing everything the same way that you did it before. How are you showing him that you are appreciative? You are showing him the exact opposite. I just wanted to show y'all that. Let's go to Ecclesiastes Chapter 3. Yeah, brother, you're right. That would definitely add some stress to your life right there. That's that paper terrorism. Mm-hmm. And you know, them that's one hospital bill. I was at 4 hospitals, by the way. That was one of them. And then you got to pay for each ride. The ambulance bill is like $1,700 for each ride. The daughter of Babylon is extremely wicked. Yet, as they take out money out of our checks, we send millions per day to folks who over there building concentration camps for people who look like us. This is one wicked place, and only Yahweh is going to be able to deal with it. Ecclesiastes Chapter 3, and let's start that at verse 1.
To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted.
Right, but when those times change, are you able to change your mindset to prepare or to survive in it? Or do you have the previous mindset in the current situation? That may cause you some problems. Go ahead.
A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing.
Right. And the more we keep hearing about this monkeypox, we might have to stop embracing. It may be a time to stop embracing. You may get a shalom from afar, brother. That video y'all sent, that girl was on the news the other day. I seen on news with the monkeypox all around her mouth. Ooh. It was not a good look. Not a good look. But these are strange times we living in. Are you able to alter your thought process for the time that is presented before you? Or do you just keep going on?
You know, God will protect me.
Go ahead.
But you know, the thing with perspective is also some of us are being given a perspective or a thought process through the news media. Because they kept saying this is coming from men that sleep with men.
Exactly.
Right? I was in a house the other day doing some wiring work. An old Gentile lady came in, she's talking to the other lady. She's like, did you hear that the president done declared this thing, the monkeypox or whatever? And she said, yeah. The lady say, it's a good thing we're not gay. I was over there dying. I was dying laughing because she's got this perspective that is
exactly
gay people.
So what happened? You get lulled into this false sense of security, and then when it hits you, now everybody's frantic. Now you got people standing in line to get more vaccines. Boy, I tell you, boy, the way investments now, people just need to invest in vaccines. Because that seems to be where the money at. Because, I mean, all of a sudden now you got, and it always starts the same way, that we ain't got enough of them. Right. Go ahead.
Verse 6, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate.
A time to love and a time to hate. Do you understand how different that is? See, you may be seeing something one way, so you show up with flowers and everybody else got guns. You in a bad situation. Go ahead.
A time of war and a time of peace. What profit has he that works that wherein he laboreth? I have seen the travail which Elohim has given to the sons of men to be exercised in. He has made everything beautiful in his time. So he has set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that Elohim makes from the beginning to the end.
All right, that's as far as I want to go there. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 47. Isaiah 47. And we're going to read verses 1 through 15. So then as these times keep changing, then our perspective on the purpose that Yahweh is presenting us with has to also change so that we match the spirit that he's sending to lead us. Otherwise, we're going to find ourselves going against the very spirit that is to be leading us because we see that a different way. Now imagine all the people who said, well, you know what, if we need to be he goes before the flock, so we need to go to Israel. And you go into Israel and all kind of hell breaking loose there. They got the biggest concentration camp known to man. But the way you see it, this is where we need to be going. But you going by yourself. Yahweh is dealing with Israel in mass. But ain't nobody going but you and your cousin. There's a problem there. That's why the people got to come around and try to convince other people to go with them. Isaiah chapter 47, let's start at verse 1.
Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for you shall no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal, uncover your locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, passed over the rivers. Your nakedness shall be uncovered, yes, your shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, I will not meet you as a man. As for our Redeemer, Yahweh of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Sit you silent and get you into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for you shall no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. I was angry with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance.
Now, you have to pay attention and you have to connect this. The judgment upon Babylon, and at the same time, he's also dealing with the redemption and the punishment of the children of Israel. So then, as Babylon is standing, the children of Israel are receiving punishment. When you look at the so-called Jews who are in the land, who put them there? The very people that Yahweh is talking about judgment upon Babylon. Yet this is how they got set up. This does not fit scripture. So anybody who wants to say, you know what, them black people think they the Jews. No. I tell you what, let's just take me out the scenario. Let's just deal with the scripture as it is. When we go to judgment upon Babylon, the children of Israel are getting dealt with, not getting handed their own land, not having their own army, being given all this technology by Babylon. That doesn't fit. You can take me out of the scenario. They still don't fit what's written in the book. Simple as that. Go ahead.
I was angry with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into your hand. You did show them no mercy. Upon the ancient have you very heavily laid your yoke.
Right. And then you look at this. This fits us. It fits Babylon. It fits us. And it does not fit those people who have been parading around as the children of Israel. Go ahead.
And you said, I shall be a lady forever, so that you did not lay these things to your heart, neither did remember the latter end of it. Therefore hear now, this, you that are given to pleasures, that dwelleth carelessly.
Dwell carelessly. With all of the bombs that she has dropped, she's never had to deal with anything. Why do you think all of these threats keep happening? As they said, you know what? Y'all gonna be the first ones to fold. You have lived in luxury so carelessly. You hadn't had to deal with your lights being off for an extended amount of time. You don't even know how to get to a four-way stop if the light don't work. And you call yourself utter so powerful. You get to a four-way stop and your traffic don't move at all. Yet you can look at videos of places in Africa where there ain't no stop sign and 20,000 people go through this intersection and not one wreck, not a stop sign, not a stoplight. Let it happen here. Let that light right there go out during rush hour traffic. Somebody gonna die. Go ahead, bro.
That saith in your heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to you in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon you in their perfection for the multitude of your sorceries, and for the great abundance of your enchantments. For you have trusted in your wickedness. You have said, none sees me. Your wisdom and your knowledge, it has perverted you. And you have said in your heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon you. You shall not know from whence it rise, and mischief shall fall upon you. You shall not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon you suddenly, which you shall not know.
Right. And so many things are coming up upon this country that whole lot of things we're not even aware of. When you do certain things with security, you know, we find out that, hey, you know, you start having a problem with all these digital communicators. You might just know as your phone that, you know, hey, sometimes I get ready to make a call and the call just sit there. You know, something, it don't work. It may be a problem, and the problem may persist sometime for a couple of days, and then all of a sudden it clear up. Well, you then find out that these people are so full of greed that they allowed their two companies, that Huawei and ZTE, had been putting their equipment on the cell towers, and they've been spying on government and people. Now the government making them remove all of that Chinese equipment off of those towers. That's millions upon millions. And half of them people saying, look, you're supposed to be giving us some money to do this. So they know that some of those things are still in place. One of them was right beside an army base, and they've been spying on the army base. Through the cell towers, they put their equipment. But when you got so many money-hungry people, they just say, oh, this is a good deal. They've been spying for quite some time. And this is the easiest spy device, because we take it with us. Ain't nobody got to bug us. You got the bug. All that naked surfing we be doing, we be in the bathroom, just what? Y'all be naked surfing? You know what I'm saying? You take the phone in the bathroom. Oh, part of that thing is they can cut on the camera, the microphone. And Israel even sells a spyware thing to other countries so that they can tap other people's phone. If you got enough money, Israel sell it to you. They got a zero answer spyware virus. You know you don't even have to answer the phone for them to infect it? And they done turned on the camera. They done turned on the microphone. We're going to have to learn to make you a little home box. Line it with foil and put that damn phone in that box and close it. that last guy that we looked at and they had done killed him inside the embassy, how about they got the software to spy on him from Israel? That's how they know he was gonna be there. You see all the hitmen walking up. They had the Crown Prince done flew 2 planes there. They done got off the Crown Prince plane. They done marched in the back door. The guy goes into the embassy and he never make it out. They done cut him up in pieces inside the embassy. How did they know he was gonna be there? They had been spying on him through his own phone, and they bought the software from Israel. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 12. Stand now with your enchantments and with the multitude of your sorceries, when you have labored from your youth. If so be, you shall be able to profit. If so be, you may prevail. You are wearied in the multitude of your counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, your monthly prognosticators stand up and save you from these things that shall come upon you. Behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor a fire to sit before it. Thus shall they be unto you with whom you have labored, even your merchants from your youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter, none shall save you.
Everyone shall go to his quarter. In other words, Yahweh is going to push everybody to go back to their home. This is where I say we are entering into a time where your perspective has to be altered. You need to look at every trip as it may be your last. Okay? Because there are things that are happening right before us, that things are getting very interesting. And if you get caught in the middle of that time that Yahweh's dealing with, you may have to sit there until peace is restored. So you look at this situation with Griner, okay? It is a really, we know it's a mess. 10 years for a little bitty bottle of hash. They knew exactly what they were planning on doing. It is unfair. But let's be honest. Griner wanted to be a black man. Well, damn it, now you won. Now you understand what black men gone through. You know? Now you done got punished to the fullest extent of the law for the smallest offense. Congratulations, you're a black man. This is what we've been going through for decades. You want it, you got it. But you have to look at something that Elon Musk said. If y'all hadn't saw his statement, he said, you know, it's very interesting. America would be negotiating to get a person out of jail in Russia for hash oil, something connected to marijuana. And in that deal, they're going to let go a real murderer to get back a person out of jail for marijuana, while America has people in jail for marijuana. How about let out the people you already got in your own jail for marijuana who ain't supposed to be there? This is how the political game is played. This is why you got to look at not only the laws of the country of where you're going, but you got to look at what conflicts they have with the country that you just left from. This girl is being used as a plot. This ain't worth all this. She left a place and went to a place, and those two places have some problems. You damn well better be checking before you get ready to go somewhere. Excuse me, what kind of problems do you have with these people right here? You got any problem with these people? Hey, we had to figure it out in neighborhoods. End up in the wrong neighborhood. He said, you from where? 31st Street. Boy, you didn't do your homework. Boy, it's gonna be a long walk for you. What you mean walk? I rode over here on my bike. No, you're not leaving on the bike. No, you're not leaving. The bike is ours. You understand what I'm saying? You have donated the bike. You understand? You donated the bike. Thank you. We appreciate your gift. Then start walking now. Go ahead, bro.
Any of us end up over there, we just over there because we ain't gonna bring the publicity that she's bringing.
You got that right.
We ain't no bargaining chips.
Exactly. Ain't nobody bargaining for us. The only thing was, you know, hey, she had notoriety. Now, if it was a ball player or whatever, they would have done the same thing if he played in the NBA. But if you work at Lowe's, hey, you work at UPS and you get caught over there. Hey, thank you for coming out. God bless. Good night. It's done deal. Ain't nobody coming to get you. Pay attention to what's going on. Our perspective on things has got to change. These are not normal times. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 60. Isaiah chapter 60, and we're going to start that at verse 1.
Arise, shine, for your light is come, and the glory of Yahweh is risen upon you. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people.
Right. Gross darkness covers the people when you listen to their mindset and the perspective that the people have about things. Gross darkness has clearly covered the people. We don't even consider Yahweh's law. Go ahead.
But Yahweh shall arise upon you, and his glory shall be seen upon you. And the Gentiles shall come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your rising. Lift up your eyes round about, and see. All they gather themselves together, they come to you. Your sons shall come from far, and your daughters shall be nursed at your side.
Right. These are all those that then got stuck in the middle of things, and then Yahweh is going to unite the children of Israel, but the children of Israel have been spread all over the globe. But there's a point that ain't no movement going on. Just like, you know, when they get to got to the height of this first pandemic, hey, wasn't nobody moving nowhere. Go ahead.
Then you shall see and flow together, and your heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted onto you. The force of the Gentiles shall come onto you.
Right. All of that technology that they have done all of these things for, Yahweh gonna give it to you. Go ahead.
The multitude of camels shall cover you, all the dromedaries of Midian and Ephah. All they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praise of Yahweh. All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto you. The rams of Naboth shall minister unto you. They shall come up with acceptance on mine altar, and I'll glorify the house of my glory. Who are these that fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their windows? Surely the eyes shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring your sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of Yahweh your Elohim, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he has glorified you.
Well, where they getting this silver and this gold from? See, that's the stuff we're going to borrow on our way out. See, we don't want no dollars. That stuff ain't good. See, silver and gold translates in every land. Go ahead.
And the sons of strangers shall build up your walls, and their kings shall minister unto you. For in my anger I smote you, but in my favor have I had mercy on you.
If the sons of the strangers understand the process that you have in some of these other countries, why you have this wicked system in Lebanon, and why Israel has some of the issues that they have, they are getting the sons of the immigrants are doing all the labor. That's why you say, well, if they have all these problems, why don't they just, cut these people off? Well, they use these people for services. And they mistreat these people too. Go ahead.
Therefore your gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto you the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve you shall perish. Yes, those nations shall be utterly wasted. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto you, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary. and I'll make the place of my feet glorious.
You know, there's certain things that you don't really consider, but like some of these trees, the aroma is so strong that bugs won't go near it. See, we don't even think about stuff like, we're like, man, we're going to be outside and mosquitoes just going to be eating us and bugs are going to be all over. There's some of these things that are so strong, bugs don't want, termites don't want to go near it. Why you think them antebellum homes still standing? They were made out of wood. They were made out of the kind of wood the termites don't want to touch. That's why 200, 300 years later, the old slave house still sitting there. I mean, what? All they had to do was pay for the wood. They had free labor to build it. Go ahead.
The sons also of them that afflicted you shall come bending unto you, and all they that despised you shall bow themselves down at the soles of your feet. And they shall call you the city of Yahweh, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel.
Right. So Yahweh has judged their hearts by not allowing them to fully know who we are. That's why you see more and more Gentiles coming out saying, these are the true children of Israel. They're trying to warn their people. Like, look, y'all showing favor to the wrong people. Go ahead.
Whereas you have been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through you, I'll make you an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. You shall also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shall suck the breast of kings. And you shall know that I, Yahweh, am your Savior and your Redeemer, the mighty one of Yaakov. For brass I will bring gold, and for iron I'll bring silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. I will also make your officers peace, and your exactors righteousness. Violence shall no more be heard in your land, wasting nor destruction within your borders. But you shall call your walls salvation, and your gates praise. The sun shall be no more your light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto you. But Yahweh shall be unto you an everlasting light, and your Elohim your glory. Your sun shall no more go down, neither shall your moon withdraw itself. For Yahweh shall be your everlasting light, and the days of your mourning shall be ended.
Now we're talking about the end of things at this point. Go ahead.
Your people also shall be all righteous. They shall inherit the land forever, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, Yahweh, will hasten it in his time.
All right. Let us consider those things, because as Yahweh starts to push forward different things in our lives, we're going to have to make some viewpoints changes in our mind, so that we can see things in the way that he's seeing things for that particular time. And sometimes your perspective just needs to be altered long enough for him to do that particular thing. Then he can alter it back. But we have to be ready for a lot of changes. So Yah's will, we will be able to be in a place that we are not only fighting against the spirit, but find ourselves happy to be fighting against the spirit, because we believe that we are going in the right direction. That is not the place where we want to be. But that's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.